Hello everybody, my name is Helene Roberts. I'm Head of Packaging here at Marks & Spencer's, and I just wanted to cover off an aspect of how we work as a business in implementing our commitments around Plan A. Plan A is our eco-plan for the business. It was a 5-year plan that we launched in January 2007, and the plan was very much about taking 100 commitments across the business, covering some broad areas in which we have an impact on the environment and ethically in how we work and operate as a business. From climate change, waste, areas of sustainability, particularly around raw materials, fair deal and how we work with our supply base, our suppliers, and health of our customers in offering a healthy food offer, as well as the health of our employees. We employ over 65,000 people within the UK and abroad, and it's how we look after the health of our employees. So I'll just talk you through a general context about Plan A and our customers, probably within the waste pillar predominantly, and talking through how we look at a number of waste parameters around packaging per se and our food products. So the starting point that I wanted to bring you on to is our customer, and what do our customers believe in terms of the environment, how important it is to them, and how it drives their perception around our brand. And the customer segmentation within the UK is that across the UK, people have differing views about the environment and its importance in their life. 11% of the UK and our customer believe that they will go out of their way to be considerate towards the environment. They will recycle, they will drive to their local recycling banks to recycle all that they can that's on offer within their area. They will buy eco products with an eco credential. And then you have the next sort of segment of customers that they will do something around the environment as long as we make it easy for them and it's convenient. So that's about 27% of the population. And then you've got over half of the UK population is still quite disengaged, saying, well, what's the point? Or, it's really not my problem. So it's quite an interest as a national brand in how we can articulate the importance of the environment, the importance of our Plan A, our eco plan, and get that customer base to start driving difference in their behaviours, to wash clothes at a lower temperature, to think about the provenance or the food that they're buying and why it's important perhaps that the way that it's being farmed, the way that it's being manufactured from an environmental impact perspective. I'm going to talk then specifically within waste. Amongst those 100 commitments, we have 4 commitments around packaging. The first one, which I think from an NHS perspective is probably quite similar, with all raw materials that you're buying, is how do you minimise the waste associated with them, and how do you optimise the amount of materials that are used in order to deliver the same product or the same service to your customer. The second point is about driving the recyclability of our packaging, so ensuring that our customer can dispose of our packaging in the most responsible way. And that's quite complicated, which I'll go into, because we don't own how our customers can recycle their packaging. That's actually managed by local government. And it's how do we work with partners within local government to make that as simple and convenient as possible to customers, regardless of where they live. The third area then is about, you do need to use packaging. We need to protect the food product. And out of our carbon footprint, packaging probably represents 6% of the footprint in terms of carbon. The rest is associated with the supply and distribution and production of our food products. So incredibly important part to look at. How do we harness that 6% to protect the wider carbon footprint that our products represent? And then finally, our customers wanted to see how they play their part in recycling responsibly as people move to fortnightly waste collection. Recycling becomes more important to them on an individual level. And from a customer perspective, it was important for them to know not only what they could recycle, but also what they can't recycle to make it as simple as possible So I'm going to talk you through some of the areas and what we've done, how we've approached it as a business. We set out to reduce our packaging by 25% by 2012. And as of April of this year, we're at 20% packaging reduction. So it's 2 years to complete the final 5%. In some areas, such as confectionery for Easter, we've reduced by 50%. We've also taken out of pizzas 69% of our packaging by moving from a cardboard box outer to a very simple film wrap. We're taking out unnecessary layers in produce, excuse me, where we're going from a tray format to a very simple film format. We've even started to explore recently by launching our 25 centilitre bottles of wine from glass into plastic and what that can do from a weight perspective with almost a 70% reduction. You can also see on the slide some examples of where we've taken a lot of packaging out of our meat, going from on beef joints from 69% packaging reduction, from going from a very big tray with a film, top film, to a very simple film format. And you can see the steaks there going from, again, a tray and a film and a label through to a very simple, what we call a skin pack. These are quite important because not only do they reduce our packaging by 60-70% in weight, but they also offer 5% extra shelf life, 5 days extra shelf life, which means that we can manage food in our production and our supply chain more effectively, but also give our customers in the home more life. So that when you have your steaks at home, if you don't decide to eat them that night, they won't go to life. They will add a number of extra days to the life. And packaging reduction doesn't need to mean about less convenience. If you look at the sandwich wraps you've got there, that's a 27% packaging reduction. But actually, the way that it is, it's easier to eat out of home, this type of product, as a result. The next target, about 100% recyclability, as I said, this is not something that we own necessarily in terms of how our customers are disposing of their packaging. There are 460 different waste authorities across the UK, and we operate within all of them. And our customers, our 20 million customers, live within all of them. So what we're trying to do is to understand which of our materials are widely recyclable, where over 65% of local authorities are offering a curbside or a local recycling solution. So these are things such as cereal boxes or egg boxes or cans, wine bottles, right across a number of range of materials. The check locally is where between 25 and 65% of local authorities are offering. So not quite as many people have access to recycling curbside. Things like aluminium trays, plastic trays, but still, fantastic resource. Instead of it going into the landfill or being shipped offshore, we want to get it back to make more packaging and using our materials, which I'll talk about in terms of our sustainable raw materials. But inevitably, there are materials that we're using that are currently not recyclable at the moment. And that's not necessarily about technically the materials can't be recyclable, but it's more about the formats. These are things like plastic bags or films. They could be recyclable, but to make that effective from a local government, that's actually quite difficult. And we're looking at ways in how we can look at our packaging to drive greater recyclability. And at the moment, about 91% of our packaging we would say is either widely recyclable or checked locally. And we've got 9% that we're working on to help local government to try and drive more recyclability of those materials. We've minimised the number of plastics that we use to that end to help in the sustainability of that material and how local government can work with that material. And if I go on to that in a bit more detail, we've looked at plastics in particular, which for our customers are probably the biggest concern for them, the most difficult, the most complicated. I'm sure that you're all within your homes looking at, can I recycle that if it's a milk bottle, plastic milk bottle, or if it's a drinks bottle, or if it's a tray that's got strawberries or blueberries in, and thinking, can I actually recycle that? And what we've done is we've worked with a number of partners to try starting to close the loop on plastics recycling. Because what we can do as a retailer is develop an end market for materials that are being recycled here in the UK. And this has taken some time. Nobody used recycled materials within the UK for plastics, for food-grade materials, prior to 2002. And we set out in 2002 to start looking at how we could introduce that to our core materials. We were the first retailer to use a 50% recycled content for food packaging in plastics to help drive a local market. We then started looking at providing recycling facilities outside of our stores so that when you were eating or bought your lunch from us, you could quite simply recycle it afterwards. And we did a huge piece of customer research, and that was in 2004, which I'll talk through in a bit more detail. We then linked that to reminding customers there's a reason why we want you to recycle. So please recycle, so almost a call to action by putting a label on the back of the pack. And then working with a partner who opened the first reprocessing plant, because the materials we were using right at the beginning of 2002 we were sourcing from Holland or Germany or Switzerland, because there was nothing available here in the UK. What we've done is that we've created a market by saying, here's the first plant in the UK open in Dagenham for food-grade plastic. We will not only supply you with some of the materials from our stores, from our cafes, but also we will give you stability of a customer by saying we'll take a third of your production and put that back into our packaging, and working right through the loop to try and pull through some of that material that we're using for our plastics. And why are we doing that? Back in 2004, we asked our customers, what do they feel about different packaging materials, and what did it communicate to them in terms of the environment? And materials such as glass, cardboard, natural materials were seen as much more positive from an environmental sense than bright, glossy plastic, cellophane, styrene, different materials that were being used within the plastics. And that was about the customer saying, well, it's made from oil. It's not a renewable raw material source. And they understood that it's complicated for me to recycle it. So this is part of the reason why we started on this journey. It really started back with the customer and responding to what the customer's needs were.